We're well aware, you're well aware, the NFL issued a new policy on national anthem protests yesterday. Now players and team personnel on the sidelines required to stand. And if a player doesn't want to stand, they're supposed to stay in the locker room. The commissioner and the owners trying to address fans and the president who were upset by the protest, and at the same time give an option to players who don't want to stand. So what could possibly go wrong with this scenario? Even when the NFL puts out small policy changes, like, I don't know, new rule on uniforms or how you can wear your socks or your shoes, they have unintended consequences. So you never know how something's going to play out, especially with the NFL, and especially if something as divisive as anthem protest. You get the feeling that the owner's main goal here was just business. Let's put the controversy behind us. Let's have the president move on to something far more important than this. And they seem to have real concerns about how it affects the bottom line. But the new policy could actually create more protest, in turn, more backlash at those protests. In other words, despite the league's best efforts, we could end up right back where we started. What if you don't come out for the anthem? You're protesting, right? What happens when you do come out? Fans are going to know who's out there and who isn't out there. And the fact that they weren't sure even how to punish a player for going out to protest. Do you realize we never used to show the anthem? What was it, 2009? Because the NFL created a business behind it. That way they could roll out the military sponsorship. Remember that? It was always a feel-good moment with the NFL, with the military and the NFL and the flyovers, and they took money from the military. That wasn't something that was a charitable cause, altruistic. Well, the NFL said, hey, you know what? We can give you some product placement with the military, but you're going to have to pay us here. I mean, come on. And look, we've talked about it many, many times. I've told you my military background with my father being a Marine, but my father, I think, would have an open mind to understand what protests are all about. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. And I don't think it's a slap in the face of the military. I don't. Because if that's the case, then anytime you see somebody get up with their hat on or they're getting a beer, is that a slap? Why is it those guys down there on the field? They're the only ones being held accountable to this. And I do understand the bottom line with the NFL. I get it. You lost business. The president is critical of you. I understand that. But you don't even include your players in this. The NBA has a rule that you stand for the anthem. Why is it the NBA has never had a problem other than Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and he paid a price for it, with players not standing for the anthem? It's because they have a commissioner with an open mind who has an open door policy to say, let's discuss this. Okay? Let's discuss this. Let's get in a room and try to figure out how can we help? How can we find a middle ground here? But the players are interchangeable. The owners, they stay forever. And I think it's dangerous when you don't allow for this expression, personality, a cause. You may not like it. It's amazing. All the people who don't like this, they're all in unison here. That's how it works. If you don't like something, at least try to understand it. And it goes back to Colin Kaepernick or Eric Reed. Understand why they're doing what they're doing, and it costs them their jobs. It's the land of the free, home of the brave. They are brave with what they're doing, and there is freedom there. So I have, rich billionaires who are telling us what patriotism really is. Do they know? And is it really patriotism if you're telling me how to act? Who to be, what to be. And it's going to be divisive. It is, folks. I get it. I'm going to get people say, stick to sports here. We're telling these football players, stick to football. No, we can't have a voice unless we can use that voice to our advantage for our business concerns. It's a bottom line business. I understand that. But you have players who understand that and we're willing to take a stand on this. But don't make this shut up and play football. Shut up and talk sports. There are certain times when you do speak up, and you may not like it. It may cost somebody a job. It may cost me listeners. But certain things, certain times where you say, understand the whole, the whole picture here. And not just a fragmented part of this that says, oh, they don't respect the military. Are we respecting their rights? I mean, look at just what happened to a Milwaukee Buck player. Was that Sterling Brown who got tased the other night for no reason? No reason. This is why they want awareness to this. That's what they're saying. Be aware. Understand our side of it. Oh, you guys are millionaires. Okay. And we worked hard to become that. We'll get to phone calls coming up a little bit later on. Johnny Manziel will join us. And please, if you're going to say stick to sports, and we do, 98% of the time I try to do that. Maybe even more than that. But there are times when I get fed up with it because I just think that we keep feeding a false narrative here at times. I respect the flag. I respect the military. I respect the police department, patriotism. I understand all of that. But I got to open my eyes to understand what's happening in other communities here and the opportunity to have you shine a spotlight. The reason why they're using the platform is there's all these eyeballs on it. Oh, I know. You just want to tune in and watch football. I get it. I do too. But I understand what they're doing. You had, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, who just won Olympic medals in 1968. So they have the biggest platform. Literally, they're on the platform. They're on the podium. And they raised up their fist. They raised up their fist to draw attention to something. It's uncomfortable. It's awkward. You may not like it. It doesn't fit in with what you're used to, but that's what they're trying to do. They want you to learn, listen, be uncomfortable, talk, have conversation. Not the president saying you're not a patriot or you should not have a job. Be open-minded about it. Understand it. Invite the players to the White House. Talk to them. Do you care? The NFL. Sit down with these players. You didn't even include the Players Association in this. Isn't that amazing? Because they don't care. Bottom line, business. That's all it is. That's all they care about.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.